Hello YouTube, hope everyone's keeping well out there. This is my pickups video for the months of September and October 2022. Recording it a little bit later than expected, but I did record this video before and I was still full of code. I'm still not 100% better now, and yeah, anyway, enough of that, let's just get on with it. There's a little bit of a mixed bag here. I've got a couple of Spectrum, some original Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Wii, a couple of PlayStation 3 and a shed ton of PlayStation 4. So yeah, lots of modern games today, but a little bit of retro. So going through these in order, I'm going to start with the oldest system first, and that's the ZX Spectrum. I've got a couple of shooters today. Now, one I picked up, I was watching Stu, aka Generation Pixels, video regarding the 5 games that he always goes back to, and he mentioned this one, and I've not heard of it, and it looked beautifully basic and simple, but a perfect looking game for the Spectrum. It looked really good, and it's called Orbiter, a shooter, left to right shooter, real minimalistic, and yeah, this one is actually for the 16K and 48K. So I mean, 16K getting a game on that, I mean, you know, sod Paul Daniels, that's magic right there. Getting these sort of games into file sizes so incredibly small and running on systems that's, you know, so weak and powered by today's standards. But yeah, there's just one thing wrong with this: it doesn't bloody work. But yeah, it's my fault. I bought it untested, so I knew there was always going to be that risk. I have tried putting it in a few times because I have had success in the past with Spectrum tapes, where if you keep putting it in and getting the tape to unwind and and wind up, etc., it sort of loosens it all up, and I've had some success with some loads from previously unloadable games. So yeah, if you've got any tips out there that I can maybe try to get this thing working, I've loaded it up in, I've got a 128K Spectrum, and I've loaded this up in 48K mode with the load, speech mark, quotation mark, enter, and tried it that way, and it hasn't loaded. And with this one, it asks you to type load, speech mark, and then type in code, which I've never had to do before. I'm not sure if that's specifically for the 16K version. I'm really not sure, but yeah, it's a real shame this doesn't work. I'm definitely going to pick this one up again if I am unsuccessful with this. But if there are any tips out there on how I could, you know, things I could try to maybe get that thing working, then please let me know. Right, this second one does work. It's for the 48K and 128K Spectrum, so it's got a bit more punch, a bit more graphical power, etc. You know, more interesting, colourful graphics and sprites, well, as colourful as you can get on the Spectrum. And it's Synapse, and I've played through this played it a couple of times. I haven't played through it, and it plays like an absolute dream. Really lovely controls, really lovely graphics, very R-Type-esque, left to right, with its gameplay, lovely and smooth, really accurate controls as well. As soon as you press the button, you're moving your ship in the correct direction, etc. And you get your power-ups a bit like R-Type. And yeah, really looking forward to giving that one much more of my time. A very good game, and I'm very pleased with that one. Right, moving on to the PlayStation 1. This is a sequel to a game that first appeared on the NES, maybe other systems, but I know it definitely came out on the NES, and that was Master Blaster, and this is Master Blaster Blasting again for the PlayStation 1. I don't think this is supposed to be, you know, heralded as an amazing game, but again, one of your 7 out of 10 sort of games. But I picked this up, no one was really watching it on eBay, and yeah, I won it for a very good price. It did have a couple of cracks in the case, but then I've got some donor cases that I keep in the cupboard behind me, whacked on a new cover, and it's in lovely condition. So yeah, looking forward to giving this one a bash. Obviously you're in the 4-wheel drive tank there, and then I think, like in the original NES game, you can get out as just a bloke and run around as well. So yeah, looks interesting, this one. Keen to give that one a go. Onto the original Xbox now. And 4 games that I picked up for £1 each in a charity shop, all in one sitting as well. So I was over the moon because there's some okay ones in here. I'll start with this one. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. I did originally have this, but just the case and the manual. Didn't have the actual disc, but I kept that, and this came up for £1 anyway, so I've got a spare case and manual for this now. I remember playing this one when it first came out on my housemates' Xbox, just before I went away to go travelling in Australia for a year, and I think I got about halfway into this and then obviously never saw it through to the end. But apparently this isn't seen to be as good as the first game, but what I remember playing I still enjoyed. I finished the first one, so yeah, there's that one. Next, for £1, yeah, this is more for the wife, The Sims Busting Out. And yeah, she's got lots of fond memories of playing the Sims games on her older brother's PC back in the day, so I picked that one up for her. Black. Now, I had this one on the PlayStation 2 and played that since becoming a collector, and played that one through to completion and really enjoyed it. I know Pete Snestastic really likes this game and is forever singing its praises, and I can see why. It has got a good following. I can see that this was definitely a kind of benchmark first-person shooter when it first came out. The presentation in this is fantastic. The sounds of the guns, the animations of the guns loading, etc. is excellent. The locales are great. It's a little bit difficult, the game in places. Here and there, there's a few tricky levels that I remember, but all in all, you know, it's easily beatable. And I know typically with the Xbox or multi-platform games that the Xbox version typically comes out trumps. But when I did a bit of research into this post, picking this up for £1 with these, I noticed that really there's not too many differences between them. I think this has probably got a better frame rate, but the reason I kept this one is because my Xbox is soft modded and looks lovely with its component cable and my plasma TV, so it's just got a little bit more fidelity, so I've kept this version of it. Next, another game I had on the PlayStation 2 but I sold that one on is Burnout 3 Takedown. Now, I've got Burnout 2 on the GameCube and I've got another one on the PlayStation 2, Burnout Revenge, and I've got Burnout 4, is it? Or I can't remember what it's called, Burnout Paradise on the PlayStation 3. But many people say this is the best Burnout game in the series, and I have had a couple of quick goes on it, and yeah, it's really good. Lovely arcadey sort of game. I'm not a massive driver racing game fan, but if it's arcadey and, you know, with a good amount of polish, which this has, it's going to be good in my books. Yeah, it's got rave reviews, lots of different game functions in this, and I've kept this one again because it's going to look lovely and does look lovely playing on my Xbox via the component cable. Right, this one I never got for £1. This one is an eBay purchase, and yeah, I just caught sight of it and researched it. I never really heard of it. It's a game by American McGee called Scrapland, and I know American McGee is the game designer that produced Alice and the follow-up game Alice Madness Returns, which I still need to get around to playing for the PlayStation 3. So that's the only reason I've heard of this guy. But yeah, I'm hoping it's got that kind of dark, kind of macabre vibe to it that maybe the Alice games have got. I'm not too sure, but looking at gameplay of this, it looks like you play as a robot on this kind of planet or asteroid of other robots, and you sort of run around, go on missions, and you can take flight in different vehicles. I don't know too much about it, but yeah, I've never heard of it. It looked quite interesting. It's got a science fiction vibe, so I wouldn't pick that one up. On to the Nintendo Wee Willy Winky. A disappointing click game. I'm aware of the characters Sam and Max. This is Sam and Max Season 1. There's another game, Sam and Max game on the Wii, which commands a bit more of a price and is a little bit more rare to find. But this one, and both of them are supposed to be quite good games on the system. I think Eddie suggested I have a look at these. So I tracked this one down, being the cheaper game. I got it for a good price. It's all complete. And yeah, it's got like I think they're like private investigator kind of duo, detective kind of vibe to it. So it's kind of got like maybe a bit of a noir vibe as well. But me and my wife have played for a couple of point and clicks. She used to really like the what are they called? The pirate games. Monkey Island. The Monkey Island games on the Amiga and on PC and things. So what else did we play? Grim Fandango, we quite enjoyed that one, although it showed its age a little bit. But yeah, looking forward to giving this one a go. Right, and on to the PlayStation 3 now, and another racer. Now, I've had a few people describe this one as kind of a similar vibe to Cannonball Run, the 80s films I used to love watching with Burt Reynolds and Jackie Chan, Roger Moore, Jaws, and Farrah Fawcett, and loads more other characters, Sammy Davis Jr. I used to love watching those films back in the day on TV. But yeah, it's Need for Speed The Run, and I guess it's similar where you've got to go from just maybe coast to coast or city to city and get there in the fastest possible time. So yeah, as soon as anyone says Cannonball Run, and apparently it's got good reviews, this, I was all over it. Cheap as chips game, so there's that one. And the last PlayStation 3 game is the original Assassin's Creed, which I remember when I didn't pick it up for long, the Xbox 360, I played this one, I thought it looked really good. And I just found it a little bit buggy, and I'm not sure if it was an early state of the game, maybe it was patched quite a lot afterwards. I just found you know, a bit clunky in the frame, there was frame rate issues. I can't quite remember too much about it now, but I much preferred the second one. But yeah, surprisingly, I didn't have this one, and this one was only £1 in a charity shop, so I made sure to pick that one up. Right, jumping onto the PlayStation 4 now, and there's a fair whack. Starting with a game my wife is currently playing, and she might even be playing it downstairs as we speak. Lego The Hobbit. She's currently gone through, well, she loves all the Lego games. She loves the Lord of the Rings games. We played the Star Wars Lego games together. Harry Potter, she really likes Harry Potter. And she's recently gone through the new Netflix, or was it the Amazon series that's based on J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion. I didn't really like the look of it, and I watched a couple of episodes, and yeah, it just seemed a little bit slow and boring to me. I didn't really like Galadriel, but anyway, she went through that. She watched all the Lord of the Rings again, and then she watched all the Hobbits. And yeah, I picked this up for her when we were in Smiths. Was it Smythe? Smiths. For her to play, and she's currently really, really enjoying it. It's got very, very, very light RPG elements to it, which she's sort of getting her head around. This one I picked up for me and the wife to go through, and I should have done a bit more research because you're not really getting on with it, and I'm going to sell this one on. It's 428 Shibuya Scramble, and in this it's an interactive kind of visual novel. And when I say visual novel, I didn't realise how much of a text kind of adventure, or reading of text you've got to do. It's literally, they'll play a scene. It's based in Japan. They'll play a scene of this particular crime, and you'll then take on the roles of different characters here, witnessing or participating in this particular crime, and answer yes, no, make choices and things, and then the massive amount of text comes up. And yeah, we tried it, but there is so much text to read. It just seemed quite a dated game, and after doing a bit more research into it, I can see that it is quite an old game. I think it came out on the Vita, and then they poured it over to the PlayStation 4. So yeah, I should have done a bit more research, but it sounded interesting when I heard bits and bobs about it. But we're going to probably sell this one on. This is a cracking game. Fighter, Guilty Gear Strive. Now, I've always liked the Guilty Gear fighting games. I do like my fighting games. I'm not particularly great at them. And this, my God, the graphics and the presentation in this are just sublime. Really beautiful pyrotechnics and moves and animation. Beautiful 2D at its best, this is. And there's a lot of content on this. You've got a lot of different fighting modes, and in this, in case you are interested, I don't tend to be too interested in stories, the story of within fighting games, but in this, it plays as like almost like an anime, which you can view episodic or watch the whole thing through. And it gives backstory to the characters, each of the characters in the game, and their motivations and things like that, I guess. So I started watching a couple of those. I probably will watch them all, to tell the truth. And yeah, looking forward to sinking much more time into this. A stunning game, and apparently a very deep game as well. It's one of those that you can kind of just about pick up and play, but it's really one that you need to learn the moves and sink a bit of time in and practice. This game I really liked on an E3 many moons ago, and it's got like a lovely little indie charm to it, and that's Unravel. And it finally got a physical release with its second game here, Unravel 2. You play as this little character here, Yarny, and you kind of got to navigate left to right, undertaking on an adventure, undertaking environmental puzzles, and you use your yarn to navigate the environment. And it's got like a real beautiful kind of cutesy art style to it, very realistic graphics, which I think lends itself very well to the kind of premise here. You know, makes it nice and quirky, nice fantasy sort of look to it. And it kind of reminds me of a couple of more platforms that I really like, Limbo and Inside, and a little bit of Little Creatures as well, where you've just got to kind of get to left to right, move obstacles around and scale things and push objects around in order to get through the particular environment. So yeah, and the 2-player game I'm looking forward to playing with the wife. Turrican Anthology, is it Anthology or Turrican Flashback? Sorry, I think the American version is called Anthology. But on this you've got the Amiga games 1 and 2, Turrican 1 and 2. You've got the Super Nintendo game, and you've got the Mega Drive game on here. So yeah, let me know which one I should start with. I'm guessing probably Turrican 1 on the Amiga. And let me know which one's your favourite that you really recommend that I do play. I've sort of gone through a couple of them, just booting them up. I mean, I haven't really played them through to completion because they are quite tasty. But Turrican games, when I had my Super Nintendo, I always really wanted to find Super Turrican back in the day, and yeah, they got Turrican 2 here. But I never really got around to playing them. I do remember playing them a little bit around my friend's house on his Amiga, and yeah, having a whale of a time with it. Great music, really good graphics for the time, pixelated graphics, really, really good. Classics. Right, this one is a bit of a, not a risky purchase, but I didn't kind of, it was a bit of a punt because I know it's got great reviews. It's called 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, and it's by Atlas and Vanillaware. But in this, it's and I know Atlas and Vanillaware, you know, produce some very, very good games, some unique games. So I was intrigued with that, and then looked into some of the gameplay with it. And it's almost 2 games in one, where you've got like a bit like Persona-esque kind of school, I don't know, is it school sort of interaction and with different characters, and then the next part of it's more of like a first-person tactical strategic game, strategy game. Yeah, it looks unique, and the art style looks really, really cool. And I know it's got very, very good reviews. It's got a good fan base. I'm not sure if it's going to be for me, but it's one of those games I thought, you know, push the boat out, try something a little bit different, and yeah, I'll at least give it a damn good go. Right, this is a game I had on the PlayStation 3, and it's had a remaster for the PS4. I don't buy all the remasters, but only games that I have been interested in, and I did play this on the PlayStation 3. Probably got about 5 to 8 hours in, and it's Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch remastered. So in terms of the remasters that you typically get, I don't think this is supposed to look, you know, completely night and day different to the previous version, but then again, it's only one generation ahead, so I think it runs maybe a bit smoother. Yeah, I don't think it's, you know, it just plays a little bit better, I think, and it's just got a bit more polish. Maybe it's got a little an increase in resolution or something like that. But yeah, Studio Ghibli, that I absolutely love their animations, love their art style. You've got I forgot his name, that does the soundtracks. Oh, what's his name? Joe Hihashi, that does all the soundtracks for the Ghibli movies. He's put his he's scored this, so yeah, I love his work. And it's level 5 as well, so yeah, a match made in heaven with a great Japanese RPG game producer and a beautiful art style that is Studio Ghibli. So looking forward to finally playing that one through to completion. Right, this one, it's kind of 2 games, but they're kind of the same. And I've never played a Dragon Quest game. This is Dragon Quest 11. Now, apparently this version come out for the PlayStation 4, so it's kind of pushing the PlayStation 4 graphically and power wise, and it's got more polish. However, later on they ported the game to the Switch and numerous bells and whistles to it, and then they ported that Switch version back to the PlayStation 4, so I picked up this version of it as well, and I'm still haven't worked out what I'm going to go for. I think basically it's a case of, do I want something with more graphics, or do I want something that's potentially better gameplay and a more definitive experience, as the definitive edition says? Because on this one you've got an orchestral game soundtrack, all the DLC, so you've got more content, and you've got a 2D mode in this one where whenever, I think it's on the fly, but like some of the Halo games, you can get on a button press, it will switch to a classic Dragon Quest style 2D perspective. So that sounds quite interesting, but at the detriment of graphics. But some people say it's not that much of a difference. Some people say there is a lot of difference in the graphics, and this one looks much better. So yeah, I've got a little bit of working out in terms of what one to play. So if any of you guys out there have played either of those versions, or both even, I'm not going to play them both because they're very lengthy games. I think you could easily clock up about 100 hours each, so yeah, I don't have the time to play the same game twice. Not in quick succession anyway. Let me know which one you recommend, if any. Right, a few more to go. This is kind of like not a triple A title, but a double A, standard A title, Vampire. And in this you've got like a moral system. You play as a vampire. I think you obviously get bitten, and then you've got this moral dilemma of, do you go after innocent people during the night and suck their blood, or I don't know if it's a bit like Interview with a Vampire, if you take like a more the better route and maybe like gnaw on stray dogs and rats or something and get their blood, or you get it through patients or something, because you play as a doctor in this. So you've got this kind of like moral dilemma of, do you go down the right path or the darker path, say. But it's got a lovely setting. It's set in Victorian kind of England. I love that kind of eerie, atmospheric setting. Yeah, really kind of love that sort of macabre horror vibe to it as well. So looking forward to giving that one a blast. Right. This is a bit Souls-like apparently, and anyone that watches my channel knows that I'm a huge Dark Souls fan. And this is kind of an anime version of Dark Souls, and it's Code Vein. So a very nice kind of Japanese artistic art style to this one. You've got the difficulty there. I'm assuming it's like Dark Souls in the sense that you'll carry your loot and your currency, and if you die, it'll be there and you'll have to get back to it the next time. But if you died before getting back to it, you'll lose the loot for good. I'm guessing it's like that. I haven't played it. It's not supposed to be amazing. Again, maybe like another 7.5 out of 10. But those are the games that sometimes shine. So yeah, you need to make up your own mind with these things. So there's that one. Well, another Souls-esque game, and this is a 2D game, and it's called Blasphemous. And basically it's Dark Souls meets like a Metroidvania. Sign me up. I love all those sort of games. So yeah, this one looks glorious. Lovely pixel graphics, really dark, gothic-y sort of setting. Difficult apparently. Loads of gory, pixelated deaths and lots of brutal combat, and lots of ways to dispatch of your enemies, and real cool looking boss battles and things. Yeah, this is one I'm very highly anticipating to play. Something that was basically Ubisoft's answer to Nintendo's Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it's Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's not supposed to be as big in scope as that, but it's definitely got like a graphical style, I think, and world RPG light adventure similar to Breath of the Wild. So at least I played through Breath of the Wild, and that was what I think I pumped in about like 120 hours. Did all the temples and did as much as I could in that. I've still got to go back and maybe do the DLC. But this one I think you can probably do in about 30 hours, so it's almost like a more condensed version, which might work in its favour and give it a bit more of a better pace. So yeah, looking forward to that one. That one's come down in price so much, it's about £6. And lastly, but by no means least, a game I've been watching for a while, NieR Replicant, and hoping that the price would come down, and it's usually loitering around the £22 mark. I got it for 18, so I was happy with that. But I haven't played the original on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, but I did play NieR Automata on the PS4, and I really enjoyed that. I loved the world that it had, and it just had a really sort of unique vibe to it. And I think this is more of the same. Switching in the game, a lot of the time it would switch from different angles, so it was very action driven, up close, and then the camera would sort of pan right out, and you'd have this sort of isometric, zoomed out, top down view for certain fights, and yeah, it just had its own sort of charm. And yeah, very unique sort of game. So looking forward to putting a good amount of time into this one. I loved the original protagonist in the NieR Automata. Was it Automata 2B was her name, and I think it's a different protagonist in this one. So yeah, there you go. That is the pickups. Let me know in the comments below what you think to the games. You know, what ones you recommend to play, different strategies for which, what Dragon Quest game should I play out of the two that I picked there for the PS4. What are your thoughts on Master Blaster here? And please let me know if you can of any hints and tips to magically make Spectrum tapes work. There's an Orbiter here, but if not, I'll just pick it up again and have a copy of the game out, because I do really want to play that one and have that one in the collection. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope everyone takes care out there. Stay safe, and I'll see you again.